The sky above Earth shimmered with alien light. Hundreds of ships, massive and dark, hovered in perfect formation over every major city. Satellites trembled under their gravitational field, and communication networks flickered in response to their presence. From orbit, the aliens looked down at humanity like children inspecting ants. Their leader, a tall being with translucent skin and eyes that glowed violet, tilted its head and laughed, a sound like metal scraping metal. "They still call this a planet," the leader hissed through a translator that carried no emotion. "Primitive, backward, laughable." On the surface, humans scrambled. Military bases buzzed with frantic activity, soldiers rushing down corridors, checking equipment, and gripping weapons that had no hope against the alien fleet. Jets roared into the sky, missiles streaked upward, and yet, every strike fizzled harmlessly against shields that humans had no chance of piercing. General Ortega slammed her fist on the command table. "Our weapons don't even scratch them. Every missile, every laser, nothing works." A young officer looked down at the floor, voice trembling. They're just too advanced. "We can't." "Stop thinking like that," Ortega barked. "We're not dead yet. Not if we do what they never expect." In a hidden underground facility, far from the prying eyes of alien sensors, scientists were huddled around a strange device. It looked nothing like a conventional weapon. There were wires sticking out at odd angles, tubes filled with glowing liquids, and a strange dome that pulsed like a heartbeat. Engineers moved cautiously, almost as if the machine were alive. Dr. Sienna Kale, the lead scientist, wiped sweat from her brow. "It looks ridiculous," she muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "Even I'm not sure it will work." A soldier leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You mean this thing? We call it the dumbest weapon in history, and now you want us to risk Earth on it?" Sienna didn't flinch. "It's more than just looks. It's unpredictable. That's the point." Outside, the alien fleet shimmered against the black of space. Their ships moved silently, almost lazily, as if they had already won. Advanced sensors scanned the planet, searching for any hint of human resistance. To the aliens, this primitive species was nothing more than a nuisance, an experiment in delay before their inevitable conquest. Back in the facility, tension crackled like static in the air. Every beep, every flicker of the machine's lights seemed magnified. Technicians hovered over control panels, making last-minute adjustments. "Energy levels at 98%, one technician reported. Stability holding. Ready for launch." Sienna nodded. "Prepare for deployment. Once we fire, there's no turning back." Outside, citizens looked up at the alien ships. Panic gripped the cities like a cold hand. Helicopters weaved through the sky, trying to keep order, but there was no hope of hiding. Children screamed, adults cried, and in the distance, a city's power grid failed under the alien electromagnetic pulses. Humanity was cornered, trapped beneath the gaze of beings who had mastered the stars. In the command room, General Ortega activated the encrypted link to the underground facility. "Dr. Kale," she said, voice tense but firm, "this is it. Earth depends on you." Sienna took a deep breath. "Understood, General. All systems are green. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Lights blinked. A low hum filled the facility. The dome at the heart of the weapon began to glow brighter, pulsing faster with each heartbeat of the room. Technicians stepped back instinctively, shielding their eyes from the intense light. The air felt charged, alive, as if the weapon itself was aware it was about to perform an impossible act. Far above, alien sensors twitched, picking up the sudden spike of energy. "What is this?" one alien commander whispered, alarm finally creeping into its voice. The leader leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "I do not recognize this signature. Analyze, now." But the humans below could not hear them. All they knew was the countdown to the moment that could either save or destroy their world. "Firing," Sienna announced. A pulse of blinding light shot from the device, spreading across the sky like a wave. It danced with colors no human had words for: bright greens, shocking blues, and a deep crimson that seemed to burn without heat. The ground trembled. Buildings shook. Windows shattered. People fell to their knees, shielding their eyes, and yet, They could feel the energy wrapping around the planet, a strange, protective cocoon. In space, alien ships twitched. Shields sparked and flickered under the energy wave, and the first tiny shock of fear hit their ranks. They had never experienced anything like this. Their technology, designed to predict and counter every human weapon, failed to comprehend the unpredictable brilliance of what humans had created. The leader's laughter died in its throat. Impossible, it hissed. This is primitive. Yet, effective. Back on Earth, the weapon hummed, alive with energy. Scientists and soldiers alike held their breath. They had no idea what would happen next. It could obliterate their cities, or it could wipe out the invaders. The uncertainty was absolute, and that fear made every heartbeat deafening. General Ortega whispered, almost to herself, "Come on, work." And for the first time, humans saw a flicker of hope, small, fragile, but undeniable. The dumbest weapon in history was active. And the aliens, so sure of their superiority, had no idea the storm that was coming. The pulse from the strange human weapon had barely faded before the alien fleet realized something was wrong. Ships that once gleamed like obsidian giants now flickered and sparked. Shields flashed like broken lightning, and the formation that had seemed unbreakable wavered. On the bridge of one of the alien command ships, violet-eyed officers shouted at each other, their voices high-pitched and frantic. "What is this anomaly? Analyze. Analyze immediately." The alien leader, still towering above the command console, narrowed its eyes. "It is primitive energy. How can it affect our ships? This should not be possible." Back on Earth, humans watched screens with tense anticipation. Every flicker of alien activity sent adrenaline through their veins. Soldiers gripped weapons, though they knew the missiles and lasers were useless. Scientists monitored the readings, jaws tight, eyes wide with disbelief. Dr. Sienna Kale paced in front of the console. "It's working, but in ways we didn't fully predict." Her voice trembled, a mix of fear and excitement. "The pulse interacts with their shields differently than we thought. It's destabilizing their formation." In orbit, alien ships shuddered violently. One of the largest cruisers shook like a leaf in a storm before it emitted a high-pitched screech and broke apart. Debris scattered in every direction, striking nearby ships and causing chain reactions. Pilots struggled to stabilize their crafts, but the wave of human ingenuity left them helpless. "They are barely holding together," an alien commander said, voice trembling. "This is not a drill. This is war." On Earth, the first shock of victory swept over the human population. Crowds in underground bunkers and command centers held their breath, some screaming with disbelief, others praying silently. They had all known the weapon was a gamble. No one expected such immediate results. General Ortega exhaled sharply. "Keep it steady. Don't let up. Every pulse counts." In the skies above major cities, alien scouting ships tried to maneuver, but their technology failed. The weapon's energy pulse interacted unpredictably with their systems. Engines overloaded. Navigation units glitched. Ships collided mid-air, leaving burning trails against the darkened clouds. A young human pilot, Lieutenant Marco Silva, watched the chaos from his cockpit. "I've never seen anything like this," he said into the comets. "It's beautiful and terrifying." Back in the underground facility, Dr. Kale adjusted dials frantically. "We need another pulse. The energy is stable, but we have to keep them off balance. The aliens can adapt if we let them." Soldiers and engineers held the line as more pulses surged outward. The sky above Earth shimmered with light as the waves of energy pulsed rhythmically, striking alien ships in ways they could not predict. Some ships disintegrated instantly, while others glowed, systems short-circuiting in spectacular flashes. In space, alien panic spread. "This is not a weapon," the alien leader growled. "It is a force of chaos. How can such a primitive species produce this?" The humans below exchanged glances. They had no answers, only hope. The weapon's unpredictability was their greatest advantage. Each strike was different, each wave altered by human intuition and improvisation. Unlike the aliens, humans were not bound by rigid logic or patterns. They adapted in real time. Lieutenant Silver's comm crackled. "Sir, we've lost visual on 3 cruisers near the equator. They just vanished." General Ortega's eyes narrowed. "Good. That's exactly what we need. Keep targeting their flanks. Don't let them regroup." For the first time, aliens hesitated. Their perfectly calculated strategies, based on overwhelming technology, were collapsing before their eyes. Officers bickered on bridge after bridge. Some suggested retreat, others recommended brute force attacks. Nothing worked. Nothing had prepared them for a weapon that acted with no predictable logic. On Earth, the human public did not fully understand what was happening, but they felt the shift. Hope blossomed in hearts long filled with fear. Families huddled together, listening to emergency broadcasts telling them the alien fleet was faltering. Children peeked out from shattered windows, gasping at the shimmering light above. Dr. Kale wiped sweat from her forehead. "Keep firing. Don't stop. We can't let them recover." The aliens, now aware of the threat, tried to counterattack. Squadrons of smaller ships swarmed the weapon's location, firing beams and missiles. But the device's energy pulse reacted unpredictably, deflecting attacks, redirecting beams, and even causing some of the alien projectiles to collide mid-air. Ships that approached too closely were shredded by the feedback of their own energy. A tremor ran through the command facility. Soldiers grabbed rails, technicians fell back from consoles. The pulse grew stronger, more chaotic, yet controlled by human hands. It was no longer a simple weapon, it was a living force, a manifestation of human creativity and audacity. In space, the alien leader screamed, "Stop them. Destroy it. I will not be defeated by this." But even the leader's rage could not reverse the wave of destruction. Alien ships crumbled, their formations shattered. Debris rained like deadly meteor showers. Human forces had not fired a single conventional shot, yet the alien fleet was reeling, unsure, terrified. On Earth, General Ortega looked at Dr. Kale and whispered, "They underestimated us. They laughed, and now they are paying the price." Dr. Kale allowed herself a brief smile. "We've only just begun." And as the sun began to rise over a battered but hopeful planet, the first pulse of humanity's dumbest weapon had struck. The aliens had laughed, but laughter turned to panic, confusion, and fear. The war had begun, and humanity had shown that even the simplest, most underestimated ideas could change the course of history. The alien fleet was unraveling. Ships that had once moved in perfect formation now scattered like frightened birds. Collisions rocked the void, sending fire and debris spinning in all directions. Communications crackled with panic as alien commanders shouted orders that made no sense. "This cannot be happening," one officer screeched. "They should be primitive. They should be dead by now." The alien leader's violet eyes blazed with fury. "Stabilize the fleet. Do not let them escape." But even as it barked commands, its own ships failed to respond. Engines sputtered, shields flickered, and navigation systems went haywire. The humans had no clear aim, yet the weapon's unpredictable pulses tore through alien ranks with terrifying precision. On Earth, General Ortega and Dr. Sienna Kale watched the battle unfold on massive screens. Soldiers and scientists crowded the control room, eyes wide, hearts pounding. "They're falling apart," Ortega muttered. "Every strike we send, it's like a hammer smashing glass." Dr. Kale adjusted a dial, her fingers trembling. "The weapon, it's feeding off their overconfidence. They're so used to perfection that any chaos overwhelms them. Every time they try to regroup, it hits them harder." Lieutenant Marco Silva soared above Earth's atmosphere in his fighter jet, witnessing the chaos firsthand. "I've never seen anything like this," he said into the comm. "They're just collapsing. Whole squadrons are gone, and they don't even understand why." Even the smallest human vessels had begun coordinating, using the alien confusion to strike lightly where possible. Conventional weapons were mostly useless, but small, precise attacks distracted alien pilots just long enough for the weapon's pulse to wreak havoc. In space, fear spread among alien crews like wildfire. "We were not prepared," an officer whispered. They are not predictable." "How can this be?" the alien leader bellowed, voice full of rage and disbelief. "Do not falter. Destroy that abomination." But the abomination pulsed relentlessly, its waves of energy unpredictable, chaotic, and terrifyingly effective. Human engineers adjusted the device in real time, feeding it information from every failed attack, every movement of the alien ships. Each pulse became smarter, more cunning, without a single mind controlling it entirely. It was human intuition made weapon, a combination of chaos and creativity no alien logic could match. Below, in Earth's command center, soldiers cheered as radar showed entire alien divisions breaking apart. Civilians, hiding in underground shelters, listened to broadcasts explaining that the human weapon, mocked as foolish, simple, and weak, was decimating the enemy. Some cried, some laughed, some stared in disbelief. "We underestimated them," whispered a young technician. "We all thought they'd just come and take over. But this is amazing." Meanwhile, the alien leader tried to stabilize its forces. "Concentrate fire on the source. Focus. I will not be humiliated by humans." But nothing worked. Ships collided in the chaos, weapons fired blindly, shields flickered, and entire squadrons vanished into the void. The human weapon, so simple and so bizarre, defied every calculation. On Earth, Dr. Kale took a deep breath, adjusting the energy flow. "It's doing exactly what we hoped. It's not just hitting them, it's breaking them. Every move they make, we learn. Every reaction feeds the pulse. They can't adapt fast enough." In orbit, Lieutenant Silver dodged debris from a destroyed cruiser, eyes wide as he witnessed a massive alien vessel twist violently, sparks flying from every panel. It's like the whole fleet is falling apart from the inside," he muttered. "I've never seen fear like this in their eyes." Inside the alien flagship, panic reigned supreme. Officers argued, blaming each other. Some called for retreat, others wanted a direct assault. The leader's violet gaze darted between them, fury building. "I will not fail. I cannot fail. Do you hear me?" The humans below, however, were already thinking ahead. They knew the first wave of chaos would not be enough. Aliens might recover if given time. The weapon needed to keep pulsing, keep striking unpredictably, until the enemy could no longer function as a fleet. On Earth, General Ortega nodded at Dr. Kale. "Keep the pulses coming. Don't let up, not for a second. We're showing them what humanity can do." And the humans had barely begun. The weapon, once mocked as foolish and primitive, continued to tear through alien formations. Systems failed, ships collided, and confusion spread. Alien arrogance was crumbling into fear, and with each passing moment, it became clear, the humans had turned the tide of battle using nothing but creativity, boldness, and unpredictability. In space, the alien leader roared, fury and disbelief mixing in a sound that shook the hull. "Impossible. Primitive creatures. They should not exist. How can this be?" And on Earth, humans watched, hearts racing, as their dumb weapon, so small, so strange, so simple, became the first real threat the aliens had ever faced. It was a weapon born of hope, ingenuity, and audacity. And the galaxy would never forget it. The alien fleet was staggering, but the humans knew the battle was far from over. Above the Earth, ships that had once seemed invincible now faltered under the pulses of the strange weapon. Yet the aliens were clever, they were already adapting, analyzing the energy waves, trying to find a weakness. In the underground facility, Dr. Sienna Kale paced the room, fingers tracing over the console's glowing panels. "They're learning," she said. "If we don't change the pattern, they could counterattack." General Ortega's voice was calm but urgent. "Then we adapt faster. Give them something they've never seen." Technicians scrambled, adjusting energy flows, redirecting pulses, and modifying the weapon's parameters. They added new sequences, unpredictable bursts, and random surges of energy. It was risky. One wrong calculation could overload the device, destroying the facility or worse, Earth itself. Meanwhile, in orbit, Lieutenant Marco Silva maneuvered his fighter among falling debris from destroyed alien ships. He watched the aliens trying to regroup. Smaller squads formed, weaving between the chaotic pulses. Their movements were sharper, faster, they were adapting, just as Dr. Kale had feared. "We need more power," Silver muttered into the comm. "They're dodging the waves now." Back on Earth, engineers worked feverishly. They fed new codes into the weapon, improvising solutions that seemed almost reckless. Tubes were rerouted, energy conduits redirected, and glowing crystals, found on Earth decades ago but never fully understood, were inserted into the core. Sienna took a deep breath. This could fry the circuits. Or it could give us the edge we need. She looked at the team around her. "We have one chance. Everyone ready?" "Yes," the team chorused, voices tight with tension. The first upgraded pulse surged into the sky. It flickered differently this time, jagged and wild, almost alive. The light twisted and danced, confusing alien sensors. Ships that had seemed steady moments ago now twitched uncontrollably. Engines sputtered. Weapons misfired. Formation after formation collapsed as the unpredictable energy struck in patterns no alien mind could predict. In the alien flagship, the leader's violet eyes blazed. Impossible. They adapt faster than anticipated. A junior officer quivered, pointing at the displays. "Their weapon, it changes. It's thinking." The leader bellowed, fury rolling through the command deck. "It is primitive. It cannot think. Destroy it at once." But even the largest and fastest alien ships could not approach the weapon safely. Every move they made, every attempt to fire or close the distance, was countered by energy waves that twisted unpredictably, striking and bouncing in ways no human had fully planned. It was chaos, but chaos that humanity controlled. On Earth, General Ortega watched with a steady gaze. "This is it," she said. "The moment we prove humans are more than their technology. We're creativity, intuition, courage, and now, we're unstoppable." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Silver was fighting his own battle above the clouds. Alien fighters swarmed him, trying to break through the chaos. He dodged with skill born of desperation, weaving among exploding ships and burning debris. Using the confusion, he fired a small missile at a weakened cruiser. It struck true, sending the vessel spinning into the void. Back in the underground facility, Dr. Kale's hands moved with purpose, her mind a blur of calculations and improvisation. "Redirect pulse 3, increase frequency. No, wait, stabilize core, now." The room trembled as the weapon pulsed, and outside, the alien fleet reeled. Systems fried. Ships collided. Smaller craft tried to flee but were shredded by feedback from their own energy as it interacted with the unpredictable human waves. The aliens were now in full panic. Orders screamed across comms, but no one listened. Some ships fled in disarray, others crashed into each other. Fear spread like a virus. The leader's command, once absolute, was now ignored. Chaos had taken root in the heart of the enemy. And yet, the humans had not stopped. With every wave of energy, with every adjustment, they kept the aliens off balance. They improvised. They created. They risked everything, using imagination in ways no machine or logic-driven alien could comprehend. "This is it," Sienna whispered, eyes fixed on the pulsing core. "We keep them off balance, keep them guessing. They can't adapt to unpredictability. It's our greatest weapon." General Ortega's hand rested on the console. "Humans always find a way. Remember that. This is why we survive." Above Earth, Lieutenant Silver saw the result of human ingenuity. Alien ships faltered, their formation broken, their systems failing. The once feared fleet was now a scattered mess, vulnerable and confused. And in the underground facility, Dr. Kale allowed herself a small, exhausted smile. The weapon, once mocked as foolish and weak, had become a force of human brilliance. Not just energy or metal, but ingenuity, courage, and audacity. The aliens had underestimated humans, believing that brute force and superior technology would guarantee victory. But humans had proven something far more dangerous: the unpredictable mind, the creative heart, the bold spirit. And now, in the silent spaces between pulses, humanity's ingenuity was writing the first chapter of victory. The alien fleet was in chaos. Ships spun helplessly in space, their engines sputtering, shields failing, and weapons misfiring. Once proud formations had collapsed, leaving trails of fire and debris drifting through the void. Alien commanders shouted over broken comm lines, but no one obeyed. Fear had taken root, and for the first time in their history, the aliens felt it. On Earth, General Ortega watched the live feed from orbiting satellites. Her jaw was tight, her eyes sharp. "We're doing it," she said softly. "We're actually doing it." Dr. Sienna Kale leaned over her console, analyzing streams of data from the weapon. "They're still moving, but barely. Their adaptation is slow. Every pulse we send, it hits them where they least expect it. Every reaction only makes them weaker." Lieutenant Marco Silva weaved his fighter between explosions and burning alien ships above the Earth's atmosphere. "I've never seen panic like this," he muttered into the comm. "They're falling apart, one by one." The human weapon pulsed again, unpredictable as ever. It wasn't just energy, it was a living force, controlled by human minds but untamed, responding to chaos with chaos. Alien sensors went haywire. Weapons overloaded. Engines sparked. Even the fastest cruisers twisted and collided in confusion. In the flagship, the alien leader's violet eyes blazed with fury. "Concentrate all fire on the source," it roared. "Destroy it before they can strike again." Junior officers scrambled to obey, but their efforts were futile. Ships collided mid-space, projectiles ricocheted into their own ranks, and communication lines broke under the strain of chaotic feedback. Panic had replaced precision. On Earth, humans celebrated silently, holding their breaths in every command center. Each pulse brought more victories, more hope. Ordinary citizens watched the sky light up with explosions and energy waves, a spectacle both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Children clung to their parents, wide-eyed, while adults whispered prayers of disbelief. Dr. Kale adjusted the weapon for a new sequence, one even more unpredictable than the last. "This next pulse is critical," she said. "If it fails, the aliens could regroup. But if it works," her voice trailed off, swallowed by tension. The pulse fired, and the effect was immediate. Alien ships twisted and shuddered as the energy struck. Shields flickered violently before collapsing entirely. Engines overloaded. Weapons exploded before they could fire. Entire squadrons were shredded in moments, leaving gaps in the fleet the size of continents. Lieutenant Silva's eyes widened. "They're falling faster than we thought. The tide, it's turning. We actually have a chance." In the chaos, human ingenuity shone brightest. Pilots coordinated daring maneuvers, striking at vulnerable points. Soldiers guided emergency defense systems, adding small but crucial attacks. Scientists monitored the weapon's output, improvising on the fly, feeding real-time adjustments into the system. Every human action compounded the effect of the weapon, making the aliens collapse faster, deeper, and more complete. The alien leader roared in frustration, clawing at control panels. "No. This cannot be. We are invincible. Destroy them." But even the flagship's might could not stop the unpredictable human assault. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and entire divisions vanished into the void. Systems designed to analyze and counter human technology failed completely against the chaotic brilliance of human improvisation. On Earth, General Ortega's face was tense but determined. "We've shown them we're more than just weaklings. Our strength is our unpredictability, our creativity. This is why we survive." Dr. Kale nodded, eyes fixed on the screens. "They adapt too slowly. Every time they react, we're ready with something new. They can't predict us, and that's our advantage. This is the turning point." In orbit, Silva dodged another explosion. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "They laughed at us, and now they're terrified. We're actually winning." The weapon pulsed once more, a massive, irregular wave of energy sweeping across the alien fleet. Ships twisted, shields failed, engines died, and alien officers shouted in panic. It was not a clean victory, but it was enough to tip the balance. The aliens had lost coordination, morale, and confidence. Even the alien leader, towering and furious, could only watch in disbelief as its fleet crumbled. "This is impossible. Primitive creatures, they should not be able to do this." And yet, humans continued their assault. They didn't just rely on the weapon, they used it as a tool, a force magnified by courage, creativity, and determination. Every strike, every improvisation, every daring move compounded the chaos, making the alien collapse complete. On Earth, civilians cheered quietly, afraid to make noise that might break the tension. Soldiers and scientists exchanged looks of disbelief and hope. They had done the impossible. They had turned the tide of a war they had no right to win. Lieutenant Silver's voice came through the comm, breathless but exhilarated. "General. Dr. Kale, they're falling apart completely. The fleet, it's broken. They're trying to retreat, but there's nowhere to go." Ortega exhaled, a long, steady breath. "We've turned the tide. But this is not over. The flagship, we need to make sure it doesn't survive. They'll try again if we let it escape." Dr. Kale smiled grimly. "Then we finish it. One last pulse, and the aliens will never underestimate humans again." And for the first time in history, humans truly believed it. They had faced a superior enemy, been mocked, and yet, through ingenuity, courage, and sheer determination, they were winning. The tide had turned, and the galaxy would never forget the day humanity refused to be conquered. The alien flagship loomed above Earth, massive and terrifying. Its dark hull stretched across the stars like a shadow that threatened to swallow the planet. Smaller ships scattered around it, damaged and confused, but the flagship remained intact, a final bastion of alien power. On Earth, General Ortega stood in the command room, eyes locked on the live feed. "This is it," she said. "The weapon's done everything else. If we fail here, Earth fails." Dr. Sienna Kale adjusted the core of the weapon, sweat running down her temple. "It's risky," she whispered. "One mistake and the core could overload, destroy the facility, or worse, the planet." Soldiers braced themselves, gripping rails and consoles. Engineers double-checked every connection, every energy conduit. Tension filled the air like a storm ready to strike. Every human present knew the weight of the moment. Above Earth, Lieutenant Marco Silva soared among debris, dodging drifting alien ships and shattered fragments of cruisers. The flagship's weapons fired at random, desperate and uncontrolled. Every shot missed, narrowly grazing his craft as he maneuvered expertly through the chaos. "General, I'm in position," Silva reported, voice tense. "The flagship is exposed. We have one chance." Ortega's jaw tightened. "All teams, focus. Dr. Kale, you have the final pulse ready?" Sienna nodded, fingers flying over the controls. "It's ready. The final sequence, it's unpredictable, chaotic, and powerful. But it will work if it hits." The humans held their breath. Outside, the alien flagship moved deliberately, aware for the first time of the weapon's true power. Its sensors picked up the energy, analyzed it, tried to respond. But human ingenuity had already anticipated every predictable counter. Every reaction the aliens attempted was met with new, creative, and chaotic energy patterns. "Firing in 3, 2, 1, Sienna's voice was steady, but the tension in the room was suffocating. A massive pulse erupted from the weapon, stretching into the sky with brilliant, chaotic light. It was jagged, twisting, unpredictable, an energy storm that defied every law of alien science. Shields on the flagship flickered, sparks leaping across its surface as systems overloaded. Engines sputtered and groaned under the sudden, incomprehensible strain. On the flagship, the alien leader roared, a sound of fury and disbelief. "Impossible. They cannot possess such power. Destroy them at once." But destruction came from all directions. Smaller human strikes, combined with the weapon's unpredictable pulses, shredded the flagship's defenses. Weapons misfired, engines exploded, and entire sections of the ship tore away in fiery bursts. The alien crew screamed in panic, unable to comprehend how a primitive species had achieved this. Lieutenant Silva dodged another volley, eyes wide. "It's happening. They're actually losing." On Earth, soldiers and civilians alike watched the sky light up with the chaos of destruction. The once feared alien flagship now twisted violently, burning and breaking apart. It was a spectacle both terrifying and exhilarating, a final proof that humanity's ingenuity could overcome even the most advanced enemies. Dr. Kale's hands flew over the console, stabilizing energy flows, redirecting pulses, and improvising in real time. "Hold steady," she whispered. "Just a little longer." The flagship shuddered violently, sparks flying from every exposed hull panel. Systems fried. Life support failed. Engines exploded one after another. The aliens' once perfect strategy was nothing but chaos now, their fleet a shadow of its former power. The alien leader bellowed in fury, pounding the control deck. "This cannot be. We are superior. How can this happen?" Silence answered it. The flagship's weapons were gone. Engines dead. Communications black. It floated, helpless, in the void. The pulse of the human weapon still radiated, but now it was steady, controlled, proof that humans could harness chaos to perfection. On Earth, General Ortega exhaled slowly, a long, steady breath. "It's done," she said softly. "The flagship, it's finished. We've won." Dr. Kale allowed herself a small smile, exhaustion etched on her face. "We've done it. They underestimated us, they laughed, and now they're gone." Lieutenant Silver's voice crackled through the comm, breathless. "Flagship destroyed. All remaining alien forces are retreating, or destroyed. We did it." Civilians cheered, soldiers embraced, and even engineers allowed themselves to exhale. Humanity had faced a superior enemy, mocked and laughed at, and yet, through ingenuity, courage, and audacity, they had survived and won. But victory was tempered by caution. Even as celebrations began, a small alien ship slipped past the chaos, undetected. A silent scout, carrying intelligence back to the remnants of the alien race, vanished into the stars. It was a quiet reminder: the galaxy was watching, and humanity's war might not be over. On Earth, the weapon powered down, its glow fading to a steady hum. Humans looked at it with a mixture of awe and fear. It had been crude, strange, and unpredictable, but it had worked. It had turned the tide of the greatest battle the planet had ever faced. General Ortega stood before the team, eyes fierce. "Remember this day. Remember what humans are capable of. We were laughed at. We were mocked. And yet, through creativity and courage, we showed the galaxy what humanity can do." Dr. Kale nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "We've proven it. Not just with weapons, with ingenuity. With daring. With hearts that refused to give up." And in the quiet moments that followed, Earth breathed, battered but alive. Humanity had survived, humanity had fought back, and humanity had shown the universe a lesson it would never forget: never underestimate the unpredictable mind of a human. The alien fleet was gone. Or most of it. Smoke and debris drifted in orbit, silent witnesses to a battle the universe would not forget. Earth's skies, once filled with fear and fire, were now quiet, the glow of the weapon fading into a gentle hum. On the ground, humans emerged from bunkers and shelters. They stared at the sky, blinking in disbelief. Cities were battered, buildings scarred, and streets littered with wreckage, but Earth was alive. Humanity had survived the impossible. In the command center, General Ortega leaned over the console, eyes scanning the final reports. "We did it," she whispered. Her voice was calm but firm, filled with pride. Every life lost, every risk, it all mattered. We survived because we dared to be unpredictable. Dr. Sienna Kale stood beside her, exhausted but triumphant. The weapon, the pulse, it wasn't just energy. It was everything we are. Our creativity, our courage, our refusal to be controlled by fear or logic. That's what defeated them. Lieutenant Marco Silva hovered in orbit, looking down at the planet he had fought to protect. The stars above were calm again, but he knew the galaxy had taken notice. "We've made them afraid," he muttered. "They laughed at us, and now they will never underestimate humans again." In underground labs and command centers, humans worked to repair and restore. Communications went back online, power grids were restored, and emergency services searched for survivors. Every person who had survived the alien attack felt the same mixture of relief and awe. They had faced an enemy that seemed unbeatable and won. But amid the celebration, there was caution. One small alien scout had slipped past the chaos, disappearing into the dark reaches of space. Its silent flight carried information, a warning to the remnants of its species. Somewhere out there, other civilizations were watching, calculating. Humanity had proven itself, but the galaxy was vast, and threats were never truly gone. In the command center, Ortega turned to Dr. Kale. "They may return," she said. "Other alien races might come. They will know we are dangerous. But that's okay. Humanity has shown it can survive anything." Kale nodded. "And when they return, we'll be ready. We learned a lesson the universe will never forget. Humans are unpredictable. We are ingenuity, audacity, and courage made flesh. They may have technology, power, numbers, but they can never predict what humans will do next." Outside, citizens slowly began to emerge, some cheering, some weeping, some just staring in or at the sky. Children ran through the streets, their laughter cautious but full of life. For the first time in weeks, humanity felt something it had almost forgotten: hope. In the damaged cities, teams of engineers and volunteers began rebuilding. Soldiers patrolled the streets, ensuring safety. Scientists studied the remains of the weapon, the alien technology, and the battle's aftermath. Every human effort seemed to carry a renewed energy, a belief in their own power and resilience. Lieutenant Silver returned to the ground, stepping out of his fighter and looking around. "They thought we were weak," he said quietly. "They thought they could laugh at us. They didn't realize, the human mind is the most dangerous weapon of all." And they were right. The weapon, the so-called dumbest weapon in history, had been a tool, yes, but it was the humans themselves who made it deadly. Ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability had been humanity's true strength. In space, the remnants of alien ships drifted silently, and the Scout continued its quiet flight toward unknown worlds. Somewhere, alien leaders whispered of revenge, of lessons to be learned, but it was too late. Humanity had shown that even against overwhelming odds, they could survive, fight back, and triumph. On Earth, a quiet pride filled the hearts of every survivor. The battle had ended, but a new awareness had begun. Humans had faced the unimaginable, laughed at death, and turned it into victory. They had fought with what they had: courage, imagination, and audacity, and they had prevailed. Dr. Kale looked at the weapon, now silent, and smiled. "We did it," she said softly. "We turned the impossible into reality. They laughed at us, and we survived." Ortega placed her hand on the console. "Remember this day," she said. "Remember the lesson. Humans are never predictable. Humans are never weak. And humanity will always find a way." And for the first time in history, the people of Earth looked up at the stars not with fear, but with confidence. The aliens had laughed, but humanity had survived. Humanity had won. Humanity had proven, once and for all, that even the smallest, strangest, and most underestimated forces could change the course of the universe. The galaxy had witnessed a new power, the unpredictable, brilliant, and unstoppable force of humanity itself. And though the stars held new dangers, Earth's people now knew a truth no enemy could forget: humans were a force to be reckoned with. The planet was battered but alive. The weapon lay dormant, a symbol of human ingenuity. And somewhere, deep in the dark reaches of space, a lone scout carried word of the defeat, a warning of the human spirit's terrifying unpredictability. The war was over. But humanity's legend had only just begun.